Hello everybody, and thank you very much for joining us here at Railbookers today as we explore the very best of Italy with ourselves. Great to have your company. Thank you for listening in, and hope you have a cup of coffee or tea and a comfy seat perhaps for the next half an hour or so as we look at our favourite Italian trips on the rails. My name is Anna Davis. I'll be your host for the next half an hour or so, and let's make a start. So first of all, like to start by mentioning that Italy is currently on sale. So we have some great savings available at the moment, savings of up to £250 per couple or £125 per person if a solo traveller. And that's running for a limited time only, but on some of our most popular Italian trips. So if you'd like any more information on that, please do visit our website, railbookers.co.uk, or indeed give us a call on 0203 780 2222. Now, I know some of you join these sessions regularly. I hope those of you who are already familiar with Railbookers won't mind me just taking a few moments at the start of this presentation to go over a few things that make us a little bit different for those of you who are perhaps newer to the Railbookers style of holiday. Firstly, important to say that our holidays are independent. You will not travel as part of a group. You don't have a tour guide. And what that means is you have the freedom and the flexibility to put together exactly the holiday you want with everything in it that you want and nothing in it that you don't. So we have complete flexibility really. All of the itineraries, holidays that I'll share with you today, they're really just a guide, a suggestion, and you can make any number of changes to those, adding different destinations, adding extra nights. There are no fixed departure dates. It really depends on when you want to travel, for how long you want to go. So do bear that in mind as we run through the different holidays today. The other thing to mention is that we can book up to 2023, so you can book your holiday up to 2 years in advance with us, whether that's a luxury trip of a lifetime, a multi-city break, perhaps looking to extend your cruise and reaching the port by rail. Really the choice is yours, and you can book exactly what you want, as I say, with all of the sightseeing, excursions, hotel accommodation all included. Now, if you're looking for some inspiration in that trip planning stage, I would direct you to our digital brochures. You'll find these online. We have a great range of brochures to download from our worldwide trips, our Scottish trips specifically, some of our luxury journeys, wide range of brochures available there. So do visit our website, railbookers.co.uk, look for the resources section, and there you can download as many of the digital brochures as you like to have a look through for some further ideas. We do have a maximum flexibility policy in place, really also known really as our peace of mind guarantee. It's really provided peace of mind to our customers for 18 months or so now. You do have the freedom to change your dates, the duration of your trip, or even the destination of your holiday prior to departure. And if you have any specific questions on that, if you'd like some more details on that, then again, please do give us a call on 0203 780 2222, and our team will be very happy to talk you through that. Now, we work with rail partners around the world, some of the most well-known on the screen there, but not an exhaustive list. And as I say, we are able to book up to 2 years in advance as a result of our relationships with the railways, and create very much a one-stop shop for you for your holiday requirements, inclusive of the rail journeys and the rail tickets, but also the hotel accommodation, excursions, sightseeing, transfers, flights, car hire in some cases as well. So every element of the trip that you'd need, as I say, up to 2 years in advance, locked in with just a very small deposit. And before we move into Italy, just to touch on COVID really and the onboard travel situation. The important thing with the railways is that during COVID and throughout COVID, they continued really to operate as an essential service. And what that means is that as customers begin to travel back on the trains for leisure purposes, well, the railways are already very well versed with the health and safety protocols for this and making the journey very, very safe. So a couple of things to mention here. These are just some broad strokes that the railways have in place for customers travelling. We do also have a dedicated guest relations team here at Railbookers and Amtrak Vacations who can answer specific questions that you may have in the run-up to your trip with regards to specific carriers, routes, and protocols that you will need to know. But for the meantime, broadly, face covering still very much required in stations and on trains for passengers and staff for the vast majority of the railways. The continued increased cleaning focus continues throughout the journey, but also at the end of each service as well, and very much moving to a contactless ticket control situation where there's less sort of reliance on paperwork being handed between customers and staff on board and more being scanned through PDFs and emails on apps. So, without further ado, let's take you to Italy, and I'm really excited to share some of our most popular Italian trips with you today. We're going to start with one of the best, which is the Grand Venice, Florence and Rome trio. It's an 8-day holiday with a starting price of £1,599. Now, let me talk you through a number of things on this. Firstly, what you'll see here is the journey starts from London. A couple of things on that. So it will start with a Eurostar journey from St Pancras to Paris. If you would like to join and start your trip from your local UK station, we can also add on the rail tickets from any station in the UK to reach London. And also, depending on where you live in the UK and how far away you are from London, will dictate really the start of the trip. So if you are relatively close, perhaps within 2 hours of London, then easy to do this journey down to Geneva in the one day. If you're a bit further out, then there are a couple of different options. Either perhaps travelling down to London the night before, we can book a hotel very close to the station so that you are within easy reach for an earlier morning Eurostar the following day. Or you can travel perhaps to Paris and break the journey there with an overnight in Paris before moving on to Geneva the following morning. So lots of flexibility, lots of different options depending on your preference, and as I say, depending really entirely on where you live and how you'd like it to start. But either way, you reach St Pancras and you travel out on the Eurostar to Paris. In Paris, you will make a transfer from the Gare du Nord to the Gare de Lyon for the high-speed service down to Switzerland, a direct route from Paris Gare de Lyon to Geneva. And that transfer in Paris, again, choice is yours. Relatively easy to do on public transport, and we do provide tickets for that transfer. If you'd prefer, we can also organise private transfers so that a car meets you and transfers you directly to the next station. So do ask our rail experts for the options on that. You'll then arrive in Geneva. You'll have a night in Geneva right on the lake. Beautiful city for an overnight stay, or longer if you wanted to extend it and explore the wider region. And then the next day, after breakfast, is really the rail highlight of this trip. And it's also the rail highlight of many of our Italian trips because you'll travel via the Alps. And this routing between Geneva and Milan really forms the backbone to all of our Italian trips by rail. It follows the same route. So it's about an 8-hour journey between Geneva and Milan. It's often a route that we would suggest upgrading to first class on, so that you have some more space, you have a wider window view to enjoy the fabulous scenery and a little bit more comfort as you travel. So you'll leave Geneva relatively early in the morning, and the train snakes around the edge of the lake, starting to pass the vineyards on the banks of Lake Geneva, and then you'll start the climb into the Alps. You'll travel along the spectacular Simplon Pass, excuse me, the original routing of the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, before then arriving over the border into Italy, and the journey continues passing very, very close to Lake Maggiore as well. So a real journey of contrast from the high Alps to the low lakes, but beautiful scenery all the way into Milan. When you reach Milan, you'll have a transfer onto the Italian high-speed network to reach Venice for your overnight stays there, before then connecting again on the high-speed service down to Florence for 2 nights, on to Rome for 2 nights, and then again the choice is yours if you'd like to fly back, and indeed many of our customers do opt for the option to take the train out, travel around by train, and then return back by air. Or if you'd like to do the whole journey by rail, that's also very, very easy to do. In this case, and in many of our Italian trips, you would travel up to Turin. You'll have an overnight added in Turin before then travelling directly from Turin back to Paris the following morning, leaving about 10:30, have you back into St Pancras by about 7 o'clock. So again, I hope that demonstrates really the sort of flexibility, the options that you have really to make the holiday, the journey, very much your own. So we'll have a look at some of the destinations included in this one. So as I say, all of our Italian trips, most of our Italian trips include an overnight in Geneva en route to take that via the Alps. Routing, you have a hotel relatively close to the station, so that makes it very, very easy for the overnight stay. You'll then travel, as we've just mentioned, on to Venice, really a city that needs very little introduction. You'll have an included gondola tour here, as well as a walking tour included as standard, with plenty of time to explore the main sites that Venice has on offer. You'll then move through to Florence, and a good opportunity, I think, to mention the hotel options that you have available, and we'll have a look at various ones available for this particular trip. Here you have the BELMOND San Michele in Florence. So you do have the option to upgrade any one of your hotels during the holiday. This is a great example for Florence. And if you are looking for a very last minute getaway for the end of this year, they've just extended their opening season. So it is still now open in November and December. So if you're looking for an extra special way to end 2021, then staying at the BELMOND San Michele might just be for you. When you get to Rome, we include a number of sightseeing options, including the ancient Rome tour, and also a good opportunity perhaps to mention the excursions and sightseeing, that they also can offer flexibility, and we can make changes to those as well. So if you'd prefer to do something other than a walking tour, perhaps you'd like to do a secret food tour in one of these destinations, if you'd like to upgrade the tour to a private tour, so it's just yourself and your traveling companions with you, all of these things are possible. So again, do please ask our rail experts for more information on how easy it is to do that and what the options are for you. If we look at one of our featured hotels in Rome, the hotel stay that comes as part of the standard holiday, this is one of our featured hotels in Rome's historic centre, the Hotel Mediterraneo. A very short walking distance from Rome's Termini station. It's a 4-star hotel in an authentic Art Deco building with, it's a listed building actually, with its 1930s decor. So all Railbookers guests get a complimentary room upgrade to a premium room, which is larger, and you also have access to the rooftop, which pre-COVID was where you could also enjoy breakfast, hoping that's going to resume next year, but right now it's also the perfect location for a pre-dinner spritzer perhaps on the roof, with great views over the city. If you're in Rome and looking to upgrade the trip to something a little extra special, then the ANANTARA Palazzo NAIADI is a great option as well. Again, really close walking distance, just 5 minutes from the Termini station, and it's a landmark property, this, right on the Piazza della Repubblica. So a great option if you want to make your Grand Venice, Florence and Rome trip a little grander. Next, moving on to Amalfi Coast via the Alps, and this, as I've just explained with our Grand Venice, Florence and Rome trip, uses exactly the same routing. So you'll travel from London to Paris, Paris high speed down to Geneva, one night in Geneva, and then along the Simplon Pass and into Italy to Milan. This time, though, you will then change to Florence. So you'll travel directly to Florence and break the journey there, before then moving down to Sorrento for a suggested 4-night stay. But again, if you wanted to stay there for a week, some customers also extend that for 2 weeks and then travel back. The choice is entirely yours. So again, lots of flexibility there. And then at the end of the trip, you can either fly back directly from Naples to your preferred UK airport, or if you'd prefer to take the train back, then it will be up on the high-speed network to Turin for that Turin to Paris and Paris to Eurostar back home. We'll have a look at some of the options included in this holiday. So first of all, you have that night in Geneva. As I say, if you'd wanted to extend that, if you wanted to spend a little longer in Switzerland en route, absolutely possible to do that. You could just spend an extra night or two in Geneva and then visit somewhere like Montreux here for the day, take a lake cruise and visit Chillon Castle right on the lake with its spectacular setting. That's an option, certainly, to extend the stay. You'll then, of course, break the journey in Florence en route. Some time for sightseeing. If you wanted, again, to add an extra night or two here to explore in a little bit more detail, you can do that. Time to visit the Uffizi and enjoy certainly a State Florentine, perhaps, whilst you're there. But then it's down to Sorrento, and you're there on the Bay of Naples for a 4-night stay. And whilst you're there, we do include a few sightseeing options, including a day trip to the, of course, famous Pompeii and Herculaneum. And you do also have, for one of the evenings whilst you're in Sorrento, a Prosecco cruise included around the bay too. Now, looking for something particularly special, wanted to share, of course, really the ultimate way to travel, perhaps to and from Italy, and that's on the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, arguably, of course, the most famous train in the world. This is a 9-day holiday with a starting price of £4,239. Let's talk you through the holiday as is on the screen. So we'll start with magical journey, as I say, on arguably the most famous train in the world, taking you from London right down to Venice on the Orient Express. So it starts with a luxury Pullman carriage journey from London's Victoria Station down to the Kent coast. You'll then board a luxury coach to cross the Channel before boarding the recognised Orient Express carriages in Calais, then travelling down via Paris through the magnificent alpine scenery all the way over the Venetian lagoon to arrive in Venice. You'll then have some time in Venice before, on this particular itinerary, then combining that with Lake Garda and Lake Como. So you'll move to Sirmione for Lake Garda for 2 nights, up to Como for 2 nights, and then ending the trip with a night in Milan before flying home or returning by rail. Now, important to mention a few things with the Orient Express. We do have a huge number of different holidays combining the Orient Express with lots of different destinations. We do have the holiday to Venice and back from Venice, but also perhaps combining with the Glacier and Bernina Express, with Venice, Florence and Rome. You could combine this with the Amalfi coast. There's lots of different options depending on where you'd like to travel. But the other thing to mention is that already we have extremely scarce availability for the Orient Express for 2022. So if this is something you want to do next year, then please do get in touch, really to avoid disappointment. Lots of people wanting to travel on this train next year. So if that's something you are really considering, then again, do get in touch as soon as possible. So we'll have a look at the onboard experience, travelling on board the Orient Express. Here you have the bar car, also known as the blue car as well. Very much the social hub of the train. You can see from the images here, it's very much travelling back in time, really, on the Orient Express to an age of glamour and style. The onboard service is really first class, impeccable. The stewards on board, nothing too much trouble for them, and you'll enjoy first class service throughout. The bar car here, the ideal place for afternoon tea, for a pre-dinner drink, and also very much the social hub after dinner for a nightcap before returning to your cabin. You'll see here the bar car, lounge car from a slightly different perspective, with its beautiful plush seating there, where guests can gather and discuss. When you board the train in Calais, this is how your cabin will look. The cabin, the twin cabin here, is what most of our customers choose to travel in. There is a choice of accommodation, and we'll look at that in a moment. But the cabin here is how it will appear when you board the train in Calais. Your steward will escort you to your cabin. It will be set up with this banquette seating for a few hours of relaxation before you change for dinner and move to the bar car and one of the dining cars. Whilst you're in one of the dining cars, and to point out, you do have a range of 3 different dining cars on board the Orient Express, and often your steward will recommend reserving one for dinner and one for lunch the following day, so you can experience the different decor, different style of those dining cars. Whilst you're enjoying your 4-course meal, you will have your cabin converted into this with the upper and the lower berth for your evening sleep. You'll have breakfast served in your cabin the following morning for your private breakfast before you have lunch and afternoon tea that day served before arriving in Venice. Now, if you wanted to upgrade to make this very special journey even more special, there is always the grand suite option to consider: a full-size double bed, full butler service throughout, and also en-suite accommodation as well. So here, one of the grand suite options, you can see you have that double bed in the background, you have a sofa, you have your table and chairs there, so you can have your meal served inside the grand suite for complete privacy if you prefer. So again, if you're looking to perhaps treat yourselves and go a little extra special for this trip, do please ask for more details on that, and we can give you the options of the different accommodation types in between. So you'll spend some time in Venice before then moving on to Lake Garda and staying in Sirmione, which here is pictured. It's a fantastic location. It's a great suggestion to take one of the boat trips. Many boat trips available to take from the shoreline. You get to see the thermal bubbles rising up from the lake bottom. And if you want to enjoy the views, then if you visit the Torre di San Martino, you have great views over the wider area. Our featured hotel here is the Olivi Thermae and Natural Spa. It's run by the Serini family. It's located, as you can see there, right on the lake, with the balcony views there, the swimming pool again, and the lake right there within walking distance to explore. The travel in between these destinations on the Trenitalia's high-speed network, you have a number of options on board, including standard class, first class, and this executive class. With the executive class carriage, there are only 8 seats in the carriage, very comfortable reclining leather seats, as you see here, and often the cost of upgrading is negligible. So please, again, do ask our rail experts for more information on that. If then you've travelled, you've done Lake Garda, then you'll move on the high-speed network to Lake Como. Again, beautifully, spectacularly set, and our hotels are right on the shoreline to make the most of the setting. Again, plenty of time to take one of the leisurely boat tours out to Como and explore the sights of the grand villas, the rolling hillsides, the vineyards, the alpine peaks in the background. And in the evening, certainly stroll through the town's cobblestones, old streets, and spend some time people watching in Piazza Cavour, but a beautiful location for your 2 nights here. Now, next wanted to share our treasures of Switzerland and Italy. So combining some of the destinations we've already talked about, but with some Swiss stays too. This is an 11-day holiday with a starting price of £1,799. So it starts in Zurich. Now on the map here, that's a flight to Zurich from your preferred UK airport. You can very easily take that by train as well, so that would also be a Eurostar to Paris and the rail journey from Paris directly to Zurich. You will then travel on to Lucerne and stay in Lucerne for 2 nights. Often, I think, overlooked Lucerne sometimes as a destination to stay, but we'll have a look at that shortly. You'll then travel south through the beautiful Gotthard Pass to Lugano for a 2-night stay there, right on the Italian border with a real Mediterranean flair as a result. You'll then travel down to Milan for a night before crossing over to Venice for 2 nights, to Rome for 2 nights, and then choosing to either fly or return home by rail. So let's have a look at Lucerne. As I say, I think very much very much overlooked sometimes, Lucerne. It's a beautiful compact city, has a lot to offer. You have the beautiful Chapel Bridge here with its 17th century paintings all along. It's set right on the lakeside, so you've got lots of options for lakeside strolls. It's also got the Swiss Transport Museum as well, which is a great place to spend a few hours. Has a great variety of different transport, all the way from submarines to trains, of course, and everything in between. Whilst you are in Lucerne, you'll take a trip up to Mount Rigi with views like that. Why wouldn't you? A beautiful way to spend your day. You'll start with a 1-hour cruise on Lake Lucerne up to Witznau, and then you'll travel on the oldest mountain cog railway in Europe up to 1,800 meters to Rigi Kulm. And railway carriages haven't really changed much in 100 years, and nor is the view. You get spectacular 360-degree views, and on a day as clear as that in the picture there, you'll see as far afield as France and Germany. There's plenty to do at the top. There are a number of trails you can take to walk a little bit at the top there. There's also a gift shop, a restaurant for lunch, and you can spend certainly a number of hours up there enjoying the view. And then on your descent, you'll take a cog railway down to the town of Art Goldau, and then a train back to Lucerne. Or if you like, you can also take the cable car down and then a walk to the boat cruise back to Lucerne. So again, lots of different options depending on your preferred choice, but certainly a very spectacular, enjoyable day on Mount Rigi there. You'll then travel south to Lugano from Lucerne, and that, as I say, takes you through the beautiful Gotthard Pass en route. It's because of its location right on the Italian border, it does have a really different kind of flair. It's often thought of as the Monte Carlo, Monaco of Switzerland as well. So obviously dominating the area, you've got Lake Lugano, measures 50 square kilometers, and if you want one of the best views over the area, then travel up to Montreux. It's Lugano's closest mountain, and it can be reached very easily by the funicular railway. You get fantastic views over the Lake Lugano Valley, but often as far as Montreux and also the Venice Alps as well. Not forgetting Milan, actually, and Milan also a great city for a couple of nights. Has fantastic food to offer. Obviously dominated in terms of its buildings by the Gothic cathedral, very much its crowning glory. But you've also got the Santa Maria delle Grazie convent, which is the home of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. You've got the fantastic Brera district to wander through with its art galleries, plenty of shopping opportunities as well, and its food is first class, including the risotto alla milanese, which is its local risotto. So plenty to do in Milan, and certainly worth considering to extend your stay for a couple of nights, I think. Now, wanting to move on now to our gastronomic capitals of Italy. And if you've heard me talk before about any of our destinations, you know that sooner rather than later, I do bring it round to food rather often. And this is a fantastic trip if, like you like nothing better than a good meal and some very good wine. So here, an 11-day trip with a starting price of £1,649. And this is going to take in some real foodie highlights in Italy. You're going to start with 2 nights in Rome before traveling down to Naples for 2 nights. You'll then travel up north back through Rome to Florence for a 2-night stay with lots of Chianti and indeed that Florentine steak that I mentioned earlier. You'll then travel north to Bologna and then on to Parma, the home of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese and of course Parma ham, and that's where the journey ends. So let's have a look at the destinations you're going to stay in. So first of all, we'll talk about Naples. So you have 2 nights here. You do have plenty of time whilst you're here to take in Pompeii that I mentioned on the Amalfi coast trip. That's only about 20 miles south of Naples, so you can certainly visit that. But you've got really 2 things that Naples, from a food point of view, is known for. First of all, it's seafood. Has a spectacular fish market to visit. and it really is a big deal, the seafood in Naples. Many of its specialities, whether that's spaghetti with clams, fried anchovies, the octopus, very, very simply prepared with a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice, and ready to go. And of course, pizza. Once just a humble street food, but really where it became world famous, originating from Naples. And I'm told that locally there's really only two ways to have your pizza in Naples: either the margherita with the tomatoes, olive oil, mozzarella, fresh basil, or the marinara, which is the tomato sauce, garlic, and oregano. I'm also told that the best pizzeria in the city is the Michele, where they've been making pizza since the second half of the 19th century. So I hope that's making you feel suitably hungry. You'll also have a day trip to Capri whilst you're in Naples. So you'll set sail, full day trip on the jet foil transfers from Naples over to the island. You'll travel around in a small group by minibus, taking in the views along the way. And you'll have plenty of time also to stop and browse in some of the artisan craft stores on the island, and a visit finishing off at the Blue Grotto with a funicular ride to the Marina Grande as well. So a full day out there, and then back to Naples for some more pizza. You'll travel up to Florence next. You'll have 2 nights there before traveling further north up to Bologna. And it's I mean, an absolute gem. It's widely thought of being actually the gastronomic capital of Italy, with its various culinary treats. One thing also Bologna has, which isn't widely known, is a network of canals, actually, and very much Venice of this area. So lots of great canal back streets to explore. One of the best is the Canale della Molina, and its nickname as a city, Bologna, is La Grassa, the fat one. So we'll include a secret food walking tour whilst you're in Bologna, where your guide will take you through some of the tastiest parts of the city. You'll learn about the history of the city as well. And the tour finishes in the old market, where you can buy plenty of delicious treats, taste some homemade pasta, some homemade mozzarella, lots particularly to try and taste there. And there is indeed some pasta in the Bologna market. And then lastly, but not leastly, you'll finish in Parma. Lots to see and do, not just from a food point of view in Parma. The cathedral is considered one of the finest examples of a Romanesque cathedral in Italy. You have the National Gallery of Parma to visit as well. But what we also include, it's recently been protected by UNESCO, or listed, I should say, by UNESCO as a city of gastronomy, Parma, for its Parma ham, prosciutto di Parma, and also, of course, its famous Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. And we do include a trip to said cheese factory. So you'll have a 2-hour tour here with one of the team showing you how it's made. You'll go behind the scenes to see the production process. Of course, time to taste, and you will have a cheese tasting with local wine and honey included in that trip too. So I hope you've enjoyed that whistle-stop tour of our Italian trips here at Railbookers. Just a few things for me to finish off by saying: if you'd like any more information on either the holidays that you've seen or other Italian trips, perhaps destinations that you're considering, we are very much open on 0203 780 2222, Monday to Friday, 9 till to 5:30. So please do give us a call. You'll find on our website, railbookers.co.uk, more information on all of the holidays that I've shared today. If you look at our destinations page for Italy and then search, you'll find a page on all of the holidays that I've mentioned today, with the route, the day-by-day itinerary, the pricing through to 2023. But by all means, if you're in a trip planning stage, you'd like some advice, some suggestions, do please get in touch. So really all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed listening to our tour around the beautiful Italy and the options that you have to make your next holiday with Railbookers very much your own. And we look forward to seeing you very soon on another one of our presentations. Thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.